see how it looks and just,
It's okay. It's not
Yeah, it is, Danny.
Yeah.
88 didn't have any striping out there. So, but that's something we can add when we do our
I
striping.
didn't check 88, is it 85th?
Well, I thought what we like is 88.
and then.
Is it 88?
Yeah,
Go to.
88. Off of Cedar, oh, 85th, here it is. Sorry, wrong street.
Yeah, I think it's 85th, isn't it? I may be wrong. Maybe it is 85th.
Either way, either one of them.
Victoria, were you watching that game?
I thought we did 88, but either 88th or 85th Street,
No,
yeah.
just me, my
Any sort of
boyfriend,
striping,
and
either on the edge or the
Yeah,
center. But that's something we
my dad's side of the
we
family,
can
they're
add
Texas
this
fans.
summer
They don't-
when we do a traffic program.
Oh,
I'll get with
My mom's
Martin,
side, they're-
make sure when we do that, that we get the newly overlaid street. Get that striped, that center line striped in there.
I think they ended up watching. Started out great.
I know.
And then they just went downhill.
So Cedar Creek is showing stripes, so we will make sure that's part of the bid on Cedar Creek.
Oh, on Cedar
In the second
Yeah.
overtime, the
We'll be
touchdown
overlaying
that they
that this
got.
year.
And then it glitched when Arizona State had the ball. And it
So we'll
just,
be
it
getting
came
with,
back to like live, and it
TEC
was like final.
Put those
What?
plans
What?
together.
That may
Yeah.
have been best.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause the
about
first
the
time it
emergency
glitched, it
radios,
was
I'm
like,
still
they
waiting
just
for
got the
3 more
2.2
bids.
version.
I put out 4
Oh,
bids.
okay.
I only
And
got
it
one.
glitched
Back,
again
yeah.
final. Okay, well, I guess
This
it's
I'll
one.
talk to Mike again about that tomorrow. I can't believe these people don't want jobs.
Well, that or it could be just trying to get parts and stuff, and radios could be just, you wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so, but that could be a possibility. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. And that's generally what we found is when people can't get there,
Yeah.
they're so swamped that they just can't take anything else on, or they can't get them.
Oh, good. Yeah, I got 2 points, so I definitely didn't make it till midnight. It was good. It was about 8:30 and I was like, yeah, we're going home.
Oh, wow.
I didn't make it.
Together with.
Yeah, we're not doing it all week. Yeah, about 8:30 I got sick, got home and passed out. Picked up until the next morning.
They gave her so much crap.
My wife wanted this very particular set of
How long did
slippers,
you go?
and I didn't realize that I couldn't get them 3 weeks out. And so I went to go look for them, I couldn't find them, I found them at the store on like the 21st. Some random store,
So how many?
random store, took a little shift, so. She got them, she likes them, but.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. It's very specific.
Something, is that something new? Or something done before?
Doing your pen? Try that one.
When I pass this around, I didn't want to send them that pencil. I think that's a pencil.
No, it's a pen, but sometimes he's green. That's all right, but it's up to you. That one should work.
Huh.
There's a big Airbnb off everybody's house.
Because we left for Phoenix on Christmas Day, so it was kind of a little change. We're usually around for Christmas, I can think about my son's girlfriend. Perfect.
Yeah, I think.
Because apparently they kind of do it, there's like 8 or 10 of them, and they get a place.
Most of the contracts.
She bailed out of that.
Ordinances and everything else, they're scanned or they're.
There is a law that you have to keep it so long as
There's some stuff, yeah, but it's not as long as you think. Usually it's 3 to 5 years, most of the time. It's not.
Oh.
Yeah, this, the
They got one
logo
on the
really pops
corner.
out.
Some of those, like district court, some of that stuff. at juveniles.
Sedona could be pretty Christmassy. It could be very,
Yeah, we have one night where we have everything from
How's your-
snowing to desert.
Yeah.
Like one night.
Dude, they were just working.
Turn the gas.
Yeah, I would start to strip off a few clothes because I dressed too warm. I said, I think I dressed too warm for this one. I don't have it that warm for that warm in my house.
yeah.
I got an appointment with
I get
the dentist office, was it free steak down?
I try to keep the utility bills down.
Yeah.
What was that, the street where the power pole is held down with the concrete block?
Yeah.
Which street is that, 83rd?
83rd in Gilcreek.
Gilcreek, oh, okay.
Somebody asked me about that the other day, and they said, can they bury those blocks? And I said, well, I said, I know there's a fiber optic there, and I know that there are other things, but they said, can they be buried? I said, I have no idea. And they said, to the city, I said, I have no idea, I'll have to ask.
Yeah.
Like downstairs.
That's if they're tying to the power pole, it's everything, I just kinda wanted to see.
Well, somebody, you know, they got those great big blocks everywhere, all
Yeah.
corners.
Yeah, yeah, it's just waste concrete.
I mean, one of those things weigh thousands of some pounds,
Oh, yeah, yeah, so, yeah, 1,000,
probably
1,500 pounds.
2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I like the gold color.
Oh, good. You are the only one that does. I got so much grief for the color this year. So much grief.
Why?
I don't, they didn't like the color, I guess. We're going around the color wheel, just to
Oh.
keep it simple. And I got 3 gold options, and that was the best one, but was not approved by the front office staff, put it that way. They're not fans.
Front office guys, what about users?
I haven't heard anything, but you were probably the first one to get theirs in hand. I
Okay.
dropped them in the mail.
Because the other ones you put in the mail.
Yeah, they dropped on, I think I put the first ones out Tuesday, so they're probably still.
Obviously, I'm gonna have to get my application in earlier. My
Yeah.
number keeps going up,
Gotta be faster, I guess.
I guess.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody, to the first council meeting of 2025. We'll start tonight with roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes, here.
McMurrin,
Here.
Hanamichael,
Here.
Daniels,
Here.
Tripp,
Here.
all are present.
All right, I would invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into the agenda, I just wanted to take a moment to mention and reflect on the passing of one of our solid DeSoto supporters. Bob Garrett served on Planning Commission for over a decade, probably 12 to 15 years. Served on the fire board. Bob passed over the weekend, or just a couple of days ago. So just wanted to mention, express my condolences to his family, and just express my appreciation for Bob's service over the years. First item on the agenda tonight is our consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes from the December 19th DeSoto City Council meeting, approval of pay ordinance number 988, and approval of resolution 2054 waiving GAAP. Is there any item anyone would wish to remove for further discussion? Or a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Tripp,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hanamichael,
Yes.
McMorran,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Item 2 is call to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business that's not on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. Does anyone wish to address the council during call to public? All right, I'm not seeing any takers, so we will move on to item 3. A, discuss revisions to breed-specific legislation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Over the last several months, staff has been reviewing the breed-specific legislation and city code, which bans pit bulls and pit bull-similar breeds. Currently, our enforcement is retroactive, focusing on animal attacks and dogs running loose. While reviewing the policy, staff has reviewed academic papers, written testimony, sought input from experts in law enforcement, the medical field, and veterinary sciences, conducted a flash poll, and presented 3 detailed memos to the council. In total, there are over 100 pages of written material for the council to review, exploring the pros and cons of the breed-specific legislation. Looking at other communities with similar bans, including Overland Park and Prairie Village, who have recently removed their bans, while Leawood has retained theirs. Tonight is another opportunity for the public to express their opinion in the form of a public hearing. The public has been given 2 additional opportunities to submit input, including a flash poll from June and a public comment section on the city website for the majority of the month of December. Following the public hearing, staff's asked that the governing body discuss the issue and direct staff on next steps. The memo outlines some suggested options, including keeping the ban in place, removing the ban entirely, or placing special restrictions on owners of the breeds, such as insurance or signage on the property. Through the process, staff has remained neutral. We will continue that trend tonight, as this is a policy discussion best left up to the elected representatives. We are here to answer any questions should you have any, or do any additional research should you need it. So with that, Mayor, I ask you to open the public hearing, accept the public comments submitted into the packet, and hear from the public.
Okay. So I think what I suggested was, since that we're so close to the holiday, that we will open the public hearing, take comment tonight, but rather than close it, I would like to just continue the public hearing. We'll take it up as old business again next time. In case someone is not here or in town and able to give comment tonight, then we'll reopen the hearing next time and allow that time for comment then as well, if everybody's in agreement with that. Just to let you know what my thoughts were on that before I open the public hearing. So if I say close the public hearing, somebody kick me and say, no, you're not going to close it. With that, I'm going to officially open the public hearing, and if you wish to provide comment regarding the breed-specific legislation, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and offer your comments.
Guess it's just me.
Hello. So I have been a resident of DeSoto for about 6
Can
years.
you go give your name and address,
I
please?
can, yes. So my name is Jillian Sundberg. My husband and I live at over in Des Meadows at 33295 West 88th Terrace.
Thank you, thank you. We need to get
Sorry.
that in the minutes.
No, you're good. So we've lived here for about 6 years. I personally am an animal control officer for the city of Overland Park. I have been for 4 years. So I was hired on just before the ban was actually repealed. So I was working there before it and after. Personally, I don't see a change. I don't see mass maulings by these dogs, or any dogs for that matter that have been previously considered dangerous. The way we handle our dog bites and public safety concerns is more proactively than anything. So we're constantly patrolling. The biggest issue I would say with these kinds of dogs and just dogs in general posing a threat to the public are going to be loose dogs. They're unpredictable. I have somebody that actually had a Maltese that was known to be aggressive to people. Why would they be considered less dangerous than a dog that's 60 pounds? Like, I understand obviously the size difference makes sense, but it's still a threat to the safety of the public, and that's what matters the most. I don't have a whole lot else. I was planning to have statistics, but my job is also very busy all the time, so I just rushed actually to get here. From a professional standpoint, I just don't see the need to keep such an archaic kind of ban in place. It doesn't really keep anybody safer. It's actually keeping more dogs in shelters, and we're already at capacity. That's been an issue for years. So trying to get more dogs homes is kind of restricting that with cities that don't allow these types of dogs simply because of the way they look, the way they think, or people think they're going to be acting towards other people. They think they're going to be a safety hazard. There's no proof of that, not necessarily. I think you should just be holding owners accountable for their dog's actions, whether it's a husky, a chihuahua, a dachshund. I mean, they need to be responsible. I think that's ultimately what will keep people safe.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
Probably this isn't it's more just a time to take
I'm used to it as
public
doing this for a living, so.
comments. But I do appreciate you sharing your comments and your professional experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record, Brandon, how many online or how many people responded in comments do we have to enter into the record from the comment period we had open?
There were 37 on the website.
Okay.
And I believe there was an additional one that came in on the 31st, so 38.
Okay. A pretty good response.
Yeah.
Anyone else wish to offer comment tonight? All right, I'm not seeing any takers, so I'm going to continue. Do I need a motion to ask to continue the public hearing, or I just make that declaration? All right.
Do we need a motion to accept the written
Comments into the public
Yeah.
record?
Would be a bad idea.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the written comments that were provided through online methods into the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. So with that, I will continue the public hearing, and we'll take it up again as item 3 or under old business at our next meeting to allow anyone that might not have had an opportunity to be here tonight to offer a comment. And then we can take up our discussion if you guys want to start to mull it over, or we can, I don't know that, if there's, would be the preference to wait until we have all the comments in before we start to offer our opinions.
That'd be my preference, is to get the public input before.
Fully vet, allow public input. Is that agreeable to everybody? All right. All right, so we'll continue the council discussion then following when we open and close the public hearing at our meeting on the 16th. Is that okay? Got that, Brandon?
Yeah, we'll put that
All
in
right.
the notes. Thank you, council.
So we'll move on. Item 4A, under new business, consider ordinance 2637, rezoning a portion of 9120 Waverly Road from R1 to C2.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. What you have before you is the recommendation from the Planning Commission on the tract at the corner of K10 and Kill Creek Road. It's about a 60-acre tract. The developer, as you recall, withdrew their application for the previous Planning Commission recommendation, which actually recommended denial of the C2 and the R3. They did come back to the Planning Commission with a revamped approach and have about 11 acres, 11 and a half acres from R1 to C2 and 25.24 acres from R1 to R2. And they have also indicated that while R2 does allow for duplexes, they've had a strong indication to planning staff, to the Planning Commission and to staff, that they will build single-family residences on the 25.24 acres that they're asking to be rezoned. The reason I combined them into 2 agenda items is because basically the issues that the public raised during the process were traffic concerns, road improvements, lack of utilities, primarily sanitary sewer and water. And across the board, the recommendations from staff as we reviewed those things, whether it was a C2 or an R2, or even previously as an R3, those were the red flags that we gave a negative recommendation on. And also, the Planning Commission at the first public hearing has significant amount of residents that were upset. I don't know if it was their, I mean, it did hit them out of the blue. I don't think the developer did enough legwork up front. And Councilmember Daniels actually, after the dust had settled after that first Planning Commission meeting, had a meeting with residents and the developer. And I think a lot of it was confusion about how the Planning Commission works, the process for rezoning, what was going to happen, and then there's just, the concern of change and different types of activities that on a piece of property that had been, vacant for quite some time. So there was just a lot of emotional turmoil that was going on at that point. And I think after the Planning Commission went through their process and actually voted to recommend denial on 2 of the items, the developer with Councilmember Daniels, they talked about a way to sort of smooth things over, come up with a better approach, a better plan. Staff also reviewed it, and we felt that this is a better approach. And you can see on page 5, 2 areas that are being proposed to be rezoned to C2. The C2 area is pretty much unchanged from the previous submittal. I mean, obviously, when you look at interchanges on essentially interstate highways, commercials right on the corner of those interchanges, and that's pretty much standard. One thing that they did was add a significant amount of R2 on the the eastern side of the property. There was concern that that area on the previous submittal was all R3. The residences that backed up to those properties didn't want to have apartment complexes potentially up to 3 stories looking down at their backyard. So that was a concession or change made by the developer. Also, the areas you could say it remains R1, especially to the north, our Streamway corridor. They weren't going to be developed anyway, so that was a concession to help increase or remain a bigger buffer area by the residences that back up to those properties as well. We also, and Joe did a lot of the legwork on this, but did contact KDOT because there was some discussion on whether or not there could be a loop road and 2 access points that would go back to Kill Creek Road, and KDOT was pretty clear that there will be only 1 access point in that area, which does require the need to tie into Waverly. So there is still a lot of discussion, and there's concern about that on the Planning Commission. But as we move through the process, preliminary plat, site plans, all those things will require traffic studies, the information on how to develop the sewers, and the utility improvements will be necessary as well. So there's a lot of steps, and I think that was also part of the public's concern, is they just didn't know there was still a lot of work to be done. And ultimately, the charge when you make a rezoning change is just a land use decision. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just the very first step, and there's a lot of discussions. We've talked about benefit districts and other types of improvements, how to get all the utilities and the roads improved in this area. So with that, we do have 2 ordinances, so you will need to make 2 separate motions on these rezoning requests. There's also a letter of support from the DeSoto Chamber of Commerce that is in your packet. So at this time, I'll stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
Just one question, going through the materials, it mentions that there was a request for a protest petition, and I was just wondering what that
Oh, well, I guess it was a request. I did give the information. Here's the form, here's the information you need to fill out, but none were received.
Perfect. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? there's no discussion, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2637, adopting the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve rezoning an 11.55 acre tract of land located at 9140 Waverly Road from R1 Residential Low Density District to C2 Business General District.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Tripp,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hannemeyer.
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2638, adopting the Planning Commission recommendation to approve rezoning of a 25.24 acre tract of land located at 9140 Waverly from R1 Residential Low Density District to R2 Residential Medium Density District.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second again. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Walker,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Tripp,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hannemeyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we'll move on. Item 5, executive session. We do not have anything, so we will go to item 6, advisory report, city administrator.
Yes, council, happy new year to all. Hope you all had a good, relaxing, enjoyable, if not relaxing, at least enjoyable holiday period with friends and family. I know I did. Thank you for allowing me some time off during that period. Just one thing to get on your radar screen, kind of setting the stage for 2025. Let's, first of all, you need to make sure to write 25 when you're signing stuff. The first thing I want to do is start off with a work plan. We've done this in years past. I don't think we did one last year and maybe even the year before, but a work plan kind of setting staff priorities throughout the year as to what we will be working on just internally, and then, you know, I want to get council's input on that too. So things like coming off the strategic plan update that we did last fall, we're going to be relying heavily on that document to set our priorities for the work elements going into 2025, things like a CIP overhaul, doing some of these area studies that we've been in the middle of doing, and looking at some more of these policy type discussions and things that we've been discussing. One of the things I want to get on early on the calendar is kind of a review of 2025 budget priorities. We've had quite a bit change since the time we adopted that. As far as revenue streams and the financial position of the city is quite a bit rosier than we had thought it would be when we approved the 25 budget. So I think it's appropriate to have some discussion early on in the year about what, if anything, to do with those revenues in terms of expenditures or a further reduction in taxes, or, you know, just those kind of broad-based policy decisions. The reason I bring it up is to kind of get it in your mind to be thinking about what your priorities might be individually for 2025, because I want to bring back just a draft of the plan, maybe for council discussion at the next meeting. So if you have an idea immediately, get it to me. Otherwise, just be thinking about that over the next couple weeks. Okay. That was it from me, Mayor.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. City attorney.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Brad, city planner.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. City engineer, Joe, what you got?
Winter Wonderland.
Yeah.
So we're tracking, tomorrow we should get a better idea of how much we're supposed to get. Right now we think for this location, we think it's probably gonna be majority of snow, but hopefully tomorrow we'll find out depth-wise. I've seen anywhere from 14 to 19 inches of snow within DeSoto's path. And so we today, even Tuesday, today, and tomorrow we'll be making sure, prepping everything, filling salt in the trucks. We'll start crews Saturday morning about 7 a.m. Assuming it's no precipitation other than snow, we'll go out early and treat some of the hills to get a little ahead of the game, and then wait for the snowfall. And so we'll go on 12-hour shifts, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 7 a.m., 7 p.m. And we'll put out the majority of, well, I told them, let's start out with all of our big trucks, make sure we get all the priority first and second priority done. If it snows like it's supposed to, we'll be consistently on those routes for most of Sunday, before we go back into residential areas. And, once we get into residential areas, we'll go to we'll keep some of the bigger trucks, but we'll go to some of the smaller trucks. We're gonna have to use some small equipment, if we get parking on both sides. We're gonna put out a notice tomorrow and maybe Saturday to say, hey, with the amount of snowfall, can you park your cars in your driveway or park on one side of the street so that we can at least get down the street to get a path cleared for a residential street. So we're trying to be ahead of the game, and we should know more tomorrow on kind of what we're gonna have to deal with Saturday and Sunday.
All right.
And then freezing temperatures the rest of the week.
If it is a wintry mix of rain then snow?
Well, it looks like that's kind of on the south end of the KC metro area.
Okay.
That's what we're hoping for. We'd rather just deal with the snow.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, that different precipitation is kind of south of the 435 loop. So I think we're far enough north, we'll just deal with the snow, which is kind of what we want to deal with.
We hope.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
That's all I got.
All right. That's enough.
Yeah.
Assistant City Administrator Brandon, what do you got for us?
Just a couple quick things. We have started renewing the UTV licenses, so if you know anybody in the UTV, send them my way. They should have got an email from me if they had a license last year, to come and get the renewal in. We're doing an online option this year, kind of streamline stuff. Also, our building maintenance tech position is still open, so if you know anybody looking for a job. And then, Mayor, just one thing on the brief specific thing. Would you like us to reopen the public comment section online, or?
No, I think that the continuance was just, because we're so tight on the holidays,
Yeah.
just to allow, I think we had a pretty good window on that, the online commenting period. At least that's my assessment.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to just shut it off with, on the 2nd of January and then have somebody that said, well, I'm traveling back from, Texas and I couldn't get there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is there anything else you'd like us to research or anything?
No, I will say that. The amount of information we have accumulated on this is pretty impressive and extensive. I think we have enough data to.
Perfect. Just wanted to make sure we were getting everything included. With that, nothing else, Mayor.
Okay. Council comments. Danny, would you like to start us tonight?
I don't have anything, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Victoria?
I don't have anything.
Rob?
Not tonight.
Nothing for me tonight.
Nothing.
Courtney, Kevin, no?
Back at you.
No? Nothing here either, so.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
This conference is no longer being recorded.